Hey everyone, Brandon here from Building Wealth Flow. This is a second part in our series, and I'm going to go through, you're going to see video from the construction side of the 2 single-family homes. We're going to go from once the lot's been cleared to getting prepped for the foundation to when we're framing and when we're finally dried in. So I'm going to walk you through lots of these videos. These are over a few days from the moment we were prepping the foundation, putting up the form boards, to once we were with the foundation poured and dried in was about a week and a half. And then at the end, stay with me to the end, I'm going to go through some of the financials. So I hope you enjoy this. I pray that you have stewardship of the knowledge and money you are entrusted with. Stay with me. Here we are. It's prepped and ready to pour first thing in the morning. It's supposed to start pouring about 9 a.m. These, you can see these beams that are dug out. These are about every 10 feet. It's about a foot deep. And then you've got this post-tension foundation. You have these cables going through it. So once they pour the foundation and the concrete starts to cure, they'll pull these cables tight and then cut off the ends at the end of the foundation, and this will give it additional structure and support. And then these beams, of course, every 10 feet, about, what did I say, about 12 inches deep, they're giving additional support, so there's no need for any foundation of piers or anything. So we'll be pouring both these foundations here at the same time. Looking forward to it in the morning, but I wanted to show this, and you've got all the utilities through here, and so that you can see, and you've got these little support things that are holding up the cables so that the concrete gets underneath it, and the boxes for the different things where the shower is, and then you've got a box over here for the bathtub area. Look forward to it in the morning. Big day. Okay, everyone, we're here. It's framing day. This is a big day. I'm always make sure that I'm here because there's little changes that need to be done, and I'm going to get to that as we're about to frame both of these houses. But I want to first show you what we call snapping lines for where all the walls are going to go. As we're looking at the foundation, you can kind of see, and I hope I'll get over here to some of them, where you can see where they've snapped the lines with red chalk, and we're measuring those off to make sure we don't need to make changes, in which we have already done. Even on this property here, we were doing some measurements right here for the vanity, and it's going to be too tight, so we're eliminating this one small wall here. But this is what's called snapping the lines for the framing, so that we can make sure all the measurements are correct on this foundation poured. You can kind of see them just as faint lines for all the different walls on the interior. And then over here, as we were framing it up, we saw something on this house. You can see the headers for these 2 windows over here that we were noticing. It's for the neighbor, it's straight across from a neighbor's window, and this is the master bedroom. So we're moving both of these 2 windows, and we're going to center them on this wall back to the backyard. So these are the times you can make these quick changes. You're always here for the initial framing, because that is where you can make these adjustments and it doesn't add any cost to the build. So these are the guys, they're getting on it, and they're going to be moving fast. And I'll do a quick video later in the day, and you'll see how much they frame up even in just one day. So hopefully you enjoy some of this description of what's going on. some things I wanted to talk about today too is those ceiling joists at the top that are going across the different rooms. Hopefully you can see them. They originally were trying to put them up on 24-inch centers, but as I build my properties, I want building them for the long term. Some people doing these things right up here at the very top, they want to do it cheap just to save a nickel, and eventually long term you're going to have issues. They'll build them on those 24-inch centers, but what we do to do it right the first time is they're put on at 16-inch centers. So I wanted to bring that up too in how we do our construction. We're doing this to keep these properties for the long term, and we're doing them right and building them right, not trying to save a nickel building those joists on 24-inch centers, but building them on 16-inch centers so that we don't have any long-term problems. Well, here we are, second day, and they're already done. And you can see over there, they're working on the next house. This is gonna have a little bit different elevation, but here is the first one as we're going through. It's pretty much dried in. They've got the initial layer on top. They'll start shingling maybe in the next day or two. And then this is the inside product. You can see the vaulted ceiling. We've already got where the island's gonna go. I think showing you something here in the master. This is where we changed those windows right here. It's perfect. We're gonna do this going forward and just have a view to the backyard instead of the side. Things that people like. This is gonna be where the shower is. We're gonna have a very large niche right here, but it's going to feature it because you'll be able to see, because we do decorative tile on the inside of these niches. These are 2x6s, so it's going to be that much, just that much wider. So those are some of the things. We've already got it all ready to go. You can see the reflective on the back side for insulation, and same thing here in this bathroom, pretty large niche for your shampoos and stuff, but everything seems to be done. This is for the electric fireplace, but all's ready to go on this one, and they're finishing up the other one right beside it probably by tomorrow morning. Hey everyone, it's been a few days since I've been here. I got busy, but I want to show you the finish elevation. Even though these are the same floor plan on the inside, of course we had to make them a little different. I'm actually liking this elevation. It honestly makes it have a feel that it's bigger, even though it's the same floor plan. But I want to walk through. We had these framed, dried in with the windows, shingles, everything, siding put on in less than a week for both properties. So it was a really quick drying in process. But one of the things I like about this one, because the roof line is different, they were able to vault this ceiling. It was about a foot and a half higher, and it gives it even a larger feel. That's one of the things I like about this elevation. I know they've already started, they're getting the air handler, all the heating and cooling in, but this was all done. I want to stop here for this video and just show you the framing and drying in process and how quick it went. It was less than 7 days and we were dried in, roofed, windows, siding, all of that put in. But I sure like this new elevation with a little bit higher vault in this living room area. Okay, let's get started. This is the second video in the series, and what I thought I'd do is continue to go with the series, go through the build with you, but then also share some of my costs. So what I'm doing is I'm comparing to the build literally just 9 months ago. These floor plans are the exact same build, the same internal floor plan, but one small change. Because these houses are right beside each other, we did have to do on one of the builds, 5720, we had to do a little bit of a difference of an elevation look compared to the previous build. So the question is there a difference in the cost? So we're going to go through some of them so far, and hey, stay to the end. You'll see all the numbers, and then next series, I've got something special for you. We've done something on the roof that I'm going to share, and hopefully maybe it'll be enlightening to you. It was to us as we made some changes to the roof. So stay with me here. So here is what I do is I look at under roof. This includes the porch on the front, the one-car garage, and that little extra space. So when I'm looking at quoting numbers, I'm looking at square footage under roof, not the heated and cooled space, but the square footage under roof. So it's 1730 square feet. The houses are 5718 and 5720. 5720 was the one that we changed the exterior elevation look. So what we've been able to do, and I had a feeling we're going to have some savings right now. Not many builders are building right now, and I wanted to see how much savings there could be. So I'm putting this out now. I was estimating between 2 and 3% savings. If I got more, that'd be bonus. But if I got less, that would be okay too, I guess I would say. So looking at the lot clearing, so you watched the video before of the lot clearing, then that same contractor built the pad for the foundation. This is prepping the house to have the foundation poured. You saw in the video, you saw the beams. They were basically, like, every square was a 10 by 10 square, and they're digging those beams roughly, I can't remember exact, but it's 2 feet, 2.5 feet, somewhere like that, to help protect the foundation long term. And then we're putting the steel cables throughout so that if we ever had to tighten up the foundation, they could pull those cables that would pull the foundation back together if there were some cracks that needed to be addressed. But for the lot clearing and pad work, we were able to save $750 compared to just 9 months ago on this same build. Of course, both properties the exact same. So we had one change with power. There's been a change recently, and in that they will bring power, but they give you a specific allowance per lot, and it's kind of easy to go over it. So we had one lot that we went over. It's just enough to put a transformer there. If it already has the power pole to set the transformer, really there isn't a cost. But they have a specific cost, and I think I heard it was around $2,000 or $2,500 for the cost that they will give you as an allowance, and anything over that you have to pay. So that's been a recent change in this area. And so the 5720 lot did not have a power pole. So we went over budget in setting power there by $1,500. So that was an expense that we didn't have allocated. These are some new changes. Though in all my builds, I do have a contingency number for every build. So I automatically, because I've been building these one right after another, the same floor plan, we've got it dialed in. But I always still put in, at least for this one, I've got it dialed in so tight, about 1.5% contingency number. If I'd never built this floor plan before, I might have put 3 to 5% contingency. But my builder and I, we're pretty good about getting our numbers very tight. But so for 5718, it already had the power pole. So all they're going to be doing is setting the transformer. We didn't go over budget. It was, no change. But for 5720, we went over budget $1,500. So we're going to have to make that up somehow. Well, what ended up happening, and I don't put the exact cost of the foundation. I do put cost per square foot. So you could do the math to figure out how much my foundation cost me on this 1,730 square feet. It ended up being $9.55 a square foot. We saved from the previous build $378 off both foundations. So now I want to go to what I was curious of. We had a feeling we were going to save quite a bit on lumber material. Because I always, when I'm building, I'm looking at lumber futures and I'm looking at what those lumber costs are per 1,000 board feet. And we've seen recently in the last couple of months, because the demand for lumber has come down because building has slowed down, the value and cost for the lumber has come down too because they have an oversupply. So we had a feeling that we were going to get a big savings off the lumber package. And this lumber package is all the framing, all the decking for the roof, all the exterior siding, all of that included in my lumber package. So that lumber package came in on 5718 at $8.50 a square foot. We ended up saving $4,700 versus the last build 9 months ago. So that was a big number savings. But over here we only saved $3,720. Well, that's because we did a different elevation, and that because of that elevation, there was a little bit more lumber material being used for that elevation, because it looked, y'all remember from the video, it looked quite a bit more substantial from the roof line and the look of it. And it ended up, it was about $1,000 more in lumber material. That came out to $9.09 a square foot, just because of that elevation difference, because the insides are the exact same. Framer, it came in a little bit high. He charged $4.45 a square foot. We were over budget by $522 compared to the last builds. Window package came in a little bit less, not a whole lot, but a little bit less. We saved $253. One of the big deals, and I talked about this in the first video, we don't have a need for a porta potty for both lots. They're right side by side. So I moved the cost for that porta potty onto this one where I had this extra $1,500 in charge for the electric. So that ended up saving us. I put it over here. We're not having to buy that porta-john. We're just buying one for both builds. It's going to save me $753 just off that cost. So here at 4718, that bill, that address, so far to date, we've saved $5,577. Well, over here at 5720, we've saved $3,832, even though we've had an extra $1,500 in cost we weren't expecting. We're net ahead at $3,800 on this build. I'm hoping the previous builds, we were able to build for around $207,000. My hope is, can we hit right at $200,000 for these builds and save roughly around $7,000? We will see, and as I go through this series on this build, I'll share the numbers primarily for the big items, but where we've gotten savings and maybe where we went over budget, something happened where it's gotten a little more more expensive. But I hope you enjoy this. I hope you enjoy going through this series. And what's going to happen at the very end is once it's completed, I'll have an interview with the builder. We'll go over final numbers. And then the final part of the series will be, once we've rented them out, I'll go through all the financials, because I do the build to rent model, and how does it perform on this build after we have the final, once it's leased, and with all the numbers, the financing, everything in it. I'm one of those, I want to share truthfully what's going on. These aren't just pie in the sky stories to make me sound good. I'm trying to share the real numbers so that you can have confidence, and maybe if you want to do a build, it's giving you a little bit more information. Heck, I don't know everything on the build. That's why I hire a general contractor. He handles all that. We've got a great working relationship, and I trust his knowledge and expertise. He's been building for almost 10 years now, and I still learn a lot, and I still ask a lot of questions. I learn every time, and you can see some of those changes with the windows we did in the master bedroom. That added a whole better look, and what we did is we moved that property. I didn't mention this in the videos. We moved that house up a couple of feet to give us more backyard, because those are tight lots in and of themselves. These lots are 50 foot wide by 75 foot deep. So it's a very small lot footprint. And so I was trying to move the house a little closer, have a little bit bigger backyard, but what it also did is it saved us on the driveway. If we moved it, I think it was 2 or 3 feet, I can't remember exact. Well, that's that much less of concrete pour when we finish up with the flat work, and we're going to build that pad like we always do on the back, having a larger, we're looking at a 10 by 12 pad on the back porch to give them a place to grill and just to sit back there and enjoy, because there's a lot of shade in that backyard. So I thought I'd give all these numbers. Hope you enjoy. I pray, like I always say, I pray that you have stewardship of the knowledge and money you're entrusted with. Till next time.